Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for being here today. I have kind of some specific questions about projects in West Virginia. My constituents, we have an abundant amount of concerns regarding various issues at HUD. In particular, HUD issued a 202 award in January of 2022 for 20 affordable housing apartments for the elderly population in Moorfield, West Virginia, which is a very rural area. Due to persistent inflation and supply chain issues, which we've already heard about, construction costs remain high and increased, and the original construction costs increased by about 50%. The sponsor was led to believe that the project would qualify for HUD amendment funds to close the funding gap. My office made an inquiry about this in January and did not receive a basic response until a month later. The project sponsor responded to the letter and heard nothing until a week ago. My staff continues to follow up, and the funding issue at hand has not been resolved. Another sponsor for a project to redevelop a school in Rupert, West Virginia, had to reach out to our office as a last resort because HUD had stopped responding to them for nearly 5 months regarding the status of their subsidy layer review, which threatened the viability of their project. My staff and I have attempted to get in touch with Secretary Fudge for more than a month before she announced her intention to resign. We have now spent 6 or so weeks working to set up a call with any high-level representative at HUD, but have come up short again. Rather conveniently, your office finally did get back to us with the call yesterday. So what can we do to work out these issues so that my constituents are not stuck in limbo, waiting for answers from an unresponsive HUD?
Senator, thank you for that. And I'm happy, Senator, to share my cell phone number with you so we never have a 6-week lag again moving forward. And I apologize if that happened under my watch. Certainly, I think that my team briefed me on this, and I'm hopeful that both of the issues you discussed have been resolved. If they have not, from your viewpoint, please let me know, the 2 items that you mentioned.
All right.
But certainly, I think that we will stay in close contact with you and your office for any other issues that you have. But we have a talented HUD team across the country. Sometimes people are maybe slow to be responsive, particularly with the 2 things you mentioned, and I'll have a good conversation with the team about the importance of true customer service.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. So here we go with another one. We have congressional directed spending issues that have been approved with HUD. Our constituents have reached out for status updates and other general guidance, but have not received any reply or confirmation of receipt from your department. These constituents has even reached out to local HUD officials who have directed them back to the unresponsive project office, and again, ignored by HUD. Many of these projects are at risk of expiring funds due to the total lack of communication and guidance. My office has continued to receive notices of awarded funding from HUD. Many times these notices come at inconsistent times with other members. In other words, some members are notified before other members are notified. My staff continues to routinely contact your congressional liaison office. I was offered a call with you for yesterday. Yesterday was obviously a big day. But I would really like to know the status of these projects for FY 22, that's been several years ago, 23 and 24. So if you could work with me to provide me with, I know you don't have it with you now, probably, a list of the congressional directed spend projects where they stand in the approval process and the disbursement of funds for the last 3 years.
I'm happy to provide you with an update and to you and to your team. If I can add one thing, HUD has received upwards of maybe $6 or $7 billion in new community project funding, and I think that what we have not received is the commensurate staffing and IT to carry out what's effectively one of the largest programs that we run right now. In addition to that, we are dealing with the fact that we have many local grantees who have never dealt with the federal government before, and so we're holding their hands through the process. One of the things that I would ask this committee is to perhaps look at maybe some threshold level of compliance, so if there are community project fund initiatives that are low dollar point, maybe there's a streamlined way for us to work with some of the grantees, because It's been very difficult for them to be responsive to us sometimes because of the rules that we have in the CDBG program. So
Well, I think, yeah, and I think obviously from the numerous comments that we've gotten, the response is not coming back from HUD. And you can imagine that people are getting very restless, especially with the pending expiration of funds. One last question, if I could. The COVID national emergency has been over for almost a year. The Chief of Staff in the White House has encouraged agencies to bring back people into their work policies. What is HUD's work policy in the office here in Washington?
well, 90% of HUD's workforce are on a hybrid work schedule right now.
Well, what's that mean?
That means that some people.
Right, but is it 2 days a week? Is it 1 day a week?
Right now, it varies across the department. We have some offices that are coming in 3 days a week. We have some offices that are coming in 2 days a week. So it's varied across the department. So leadership across the department have made thoughtful decisions about how frequently folks have to come in. So there's no one standard at the department
So
right
we're
now.
finding this all across every agency. This happens to be something that really bothers me. I don't think the work's getting done. And, I just spent the first 5 minutes talking about the work not getting done. And I think sometimes that has to be with the work environment and quite possibly the fact that people are not face-to-face working together as effectively as they can, which they would be, I think, if they were in a more consistent in-office policy. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator.